So, one of the things that's important here is remember, when we're right up on top of the dog working here, it's easy for everybody back here, just Monday night quarterbacking. They can see a lot more than you can, because when you're up here, it's called leash blind. You can't see as much from your dog right here, but people back here can. So what's important, if you see behavior, what I teach my handlers, slacken the line into the leash, back away from your dog, slacken your leash right here, and let him work that, work in what? Remember our boundaries? And you just stay behind him, over here, let him work. You see him out of order, see him in order, out of order, and this you see, and so you start learning all the different responses. Odor, responses, behavior change that your dog does when he's in odor. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. And as we do it this afternoon, then it'll make a lot more sense. But one of the most important things is we're the leader. We must provide to the dog. So if I'm sniffing an area, it's my job. I don't have to hit on things. I don't like handlers that hit on stuff. You just present it. Boom, you present it and your hand moves away. If it's, you use the word find or seek or find your gift, whatever you're using, it's a gift, let the dog sniff, get your hand away. Boom, let your dog sniff, get your hand away. Boom, look here, get your hand away. Let him do the work, but you don't want to be dispersing scent all over the place by doing this kind of stuff. Now, if I need to breathe something, let's say like a refrigerator here. Refrigerator is plugged in and operating. If there's dope in it, chances are you will get your alert from behind because of the exhaust fan that blows air out the back. That's where your odor is going to come from. You can breathe objects though that are vacuum or doors, or let's use this for an example. Let's say this is an inhaling door instead of an exhaling door. So anything I put behind this door, inhaling means it comes, the only way we're going to smell it is from behind. Because in the front, it's not exhaling, it's not allowing any odor to come out. But if you come up to something and just go do this, just push on it, you'll breathe it. And that allows it to push the odor out to you for your dog to smell. Luggage. You got luggage, which you'll be working a lot of that. We have in these buildings all over. As you're coming along the luggage and your dog's not getting odor, you just push down on the top of it. Push down and it blows the odor out the keyholes and the seams for your dog to smell. So those are just little hints and stuff for you there. The most important thing is what we're talking about is the leadership, the natural instinctual drive, which is very important, and that's the only way to train dogs. It's their natural instinctual drive training. And that's what we do here. We have alert boxes for aggressive dogs that look similar to this. Same thing we're talking about like on the bunny box with the passive alert dog that you'll see this afternoon. And it's got a piece of wood in the middle, comes like this, a little hole in it. And behind it, behind this piece, this flips out. We put the drug in there, whatever drug it might be. And then this has got a door that's on a string and it goes up and over the wall. And this door then shuts in front. And in the front we can put the prey item. The prey item can be PVC, a ball, a towel, whatever it might be. So now I have the drug in there. My set pincher is the odor of the drug and his ball or towel or whatever it might be. And if I'm using towels and stuff, most of the towels I have are sterilized and we scent them in the actual dope. So the towel is a scented object as well. So the dog comes along, the same thing we were doing with the passive alert, smells this, and it's scent picture, and not only does he smell the odor we're teaching him, he connects that into the set picture. He also connects the play toy, the prey item, the ball or the towel, where it might be. So the dog will start scratching, and as he's scratching, we're back behind the dog, and we are on this rope, and we pull it, and that door then pops open, and the ball kicks right up into the dog's mouth. The prey item, whatever it might be. Again, towel, ball, PVC, whatever it is. So that we're safe because the drug is protected behind another board with holes in it. So we know the dog gets the odor, but the dog can't get into the drug to harm himself. And this door just goes up, and boom, the item kicks right out right away. And we're not giving this item, the dog's not seeing this, to give this to him. So he thinks in his mind that all his prey items, in the very beginning of training, all prey comes from that odor. All the different odors we're teaching him. Now another thing is, we know pretty much factual, the dogs can smell 20, 25, even more. They never haven't determined it yet, that I know of. All different smells at the same time. The dog can go, and if there's hamburgers, marijuana, lima beans, a cooler, Coleman cooler, dirty clothes, galoshes, whatever, the dog knows all them items are there. So what we have to be careful with, and that's one of the reasons we do not stimulate our dogs on the street. If my dog alerts on the street to the trunk of a car, back here, and we open that up and there's 100 pounds of marijuana back there, I don't take my dog back there, or even if he alerts here and I don't know what's there, I don't throw a ball, a prey item, I don't throw a towel, I don't do nothing. You don't need to. The dog hits it, okay? Put the dog up, we find, open it up, and we say, okay, there's 100 pounds. Great. So we do what we need to do, but I take my drugs in, that I know what they are, they've been examined by the lab and everything else. I take my dope later on that day, and I go put a find out somewhere. I let the dog hit it, and then I stimulate my dog, okay? You do not stimulate on the street. Very bad news. And what happens is, remember we talked about scent picture here? You stimulate on the street, everything that's in that trunk that you stimulate for becomes good to that dog. The dog says, oh. So let's say there's a cooler back here, and that cooler's got 100 pounds of marijuana in it and 1 pound sealed packages. But also in that cooler, because these guys are traveling, is hamburgers and sausages and potato chips and pop. Well, if I give him stimulation there, the reward, people call it rewards, I call it stimulation. I give it stimulation to him there, I have taught him that all that is okay. Because that is a scent picture, isn't it? So as we go through the training, see, we have to eliminate, we have to bring that scent picture down to just that odor. Okay? We got to be careful about our hands. Very careful about when we handle narcotics. You don't want to handle your narcotics and go out here and hide them for your dog and then go around and touch stuff all over the place, because you're dispersing odor everywhere. Okay? The person that goes and hides your dope should not be the same person all the time. You need to use numerous people constantly that hide your drugs for you. And you need to have drugs that are street drugs, that are cut with all the different cutting agents that you find in your area that are street drugs. And then you need to have as much possible as pure 100% dope without cutting agents, if you can. It's not always possible, but that's what we try to do. We try to do that right there. Very important. Okay, does that make some sense to you there?
No.
As we get started on, it's a lot of information being thrown at you at once.
Yeah, I understand what the correlation on the street, like, you know, the hamburgers or whatever's in there.
You'll get guys that'll say, God dang it, man, my dog, I'll go to the seminar somewhere and they say, no, I'm having a problem with my dog. This is a true story, just to tell you. And this is what happens to us. We get ourselves in tunnel vision and we don't think about what we're doing. This guy worked for a small department, kind of like yours. And he, all the time, his biggest thing, his sheriff wanted him doing was dog demonstrations. So he would go out every time, of course, in his patrol car, and he'd take marijuana and hide it in his gas cap. I mean, you can see the scratch marks all over his gas cap from being that's where it went every time.
Yeah.
Well, what was in the scent picture there?
Yeah.
Gasoline as well, right? Well, this dog got to the point that becomes so successful to the dog, getting stimulated there all the time at the little Boy Scout camps and Girl Scout camps they give the dog demonstrations at, in the schools, that when the dog goes to the street, the dog started hitting every gas cap. Because it was success to him. Even though the odor of marijuana wasn't there, but a part of that scent picture was there. And what was successful to the dog was because this happened. Because the hammer rewarded on the street all the time. In other words, when in their demonstrations, the marijuana was there, the gas was there. All right. Now he goes to the street and he's working a car, and the dog comes to the gas and goes, that other odor isn't there, but this gas. Of course, they don't know it's gas. The dog smells it. That one part of that scent picture's there. Dogs are avid gamblers. So the dog goes scratch, 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 and the hammer goes and throws the ball because he thinks it's for real. Well, of course, they search, tear everything down, search. There's no dough. But what did the dog learn? Only one part of the scent picture was there. I want my prey. Okay? I want my prey, and I learn if I scratch, I get my prey from the hammer. Because the leadership skills were bad from this hammer, okay? Nothing against him, just bad leadership, bad training. Hammer didn't understand. So once he learned, at the seminar, we taught him, hey, whoa, let's do this. And we did a bunch of proofing with the dog and showed him prey training. If you prey train, there's no reason for your dog to false alert. There is not a reason whatsoever for him to false alert. Prey training will get less false alerts. If you don't prey train, if you train and the dog gets to see you throwing the ball all the time or doing this here or doing this and he's caught you, in other words, the dog will become an avid gambler and say, I can gamble and get my leadership, because the leadership isn't good, doesn't know any better, to throw me my prey. So the dog actually starts training you. You see what happens here? So we want to make sure we always prey train, and we never stimulate on the street. We only stimulate when I know I have my drugs there, that I know what it is. Okay? That way I know what I've done with this scent picture. Okay? I haven't allowed anything else to come out in the scent picture. So on the street, even though he found this 100 pounds, which is great, and all these other things were in that scent picture too, he didn't get his prey, did he? And we teach him in training now. As we go through the training, we'll do, let's say I put out 10 fines this afternoon. Let's say the first 2 fines, and you different, you play a game. You got to be a gambler and a good leadership skills with your dog too. So I put one out, the dog gets there, boom, the prey comes out. The bunny rabbit comes out for the dog. The dog's like happy. Go to second fine, the dog's digging and digging and digging. I do what's called resistance to training. I pull back on the line a little bit and then let it back. I pull back a little bit and the dog's like, no man, it's here. And the dog's digging and digging, I let it back. And I just slowly pull him away and move on. Put him right back into hunt drive. And we're searching again. The dog will search. Boom, comes the next one. Boom, dog's there. Boom, smell it. Yep, this is it. Now he's really digging because I did all this resistance stuff, right? So the dog's digging and digging and digging and digging. Boom, bunny rabbit appears. So he don't know. Maybe out of 10 fines, it appears 4 or 5 times. In the others, it doesn't. The dog should never know. And your dog will never, people go, oh man, the dog didn't get rewarded, so he won't sniff for you no more. That's not true. The dog will sniff for you. With the proper drive, and the drive of the dog, selection test of the dog, it doesn't matter whether he gets that prey or he doesn't. Okay? This is just a training tool we use, natural instinctual drive training tool we use to make this dog learn what we want him to do through motivation. Find this odor, you get these different things at different times, but you don't ever know when it's coming. Okay? Does that make sense to you? He doesn't know. And like we were talking about obedience this morning, same thing. Different times, different things happen through prey. Ball over here, or towel here, or toy here, whatever it might be, these different things happen. And the dog's like, wow, because he doesn't know. Okay? Any other questions? We'll get going over a lot of this afternoon as well. So.
Yeah, I'm sure I've got questions when I think about this later, but right now I can't. I'll be in bed tonight and I'll be trying to take it in.
That's all right. Just write them down, man. Write them down and then we'll go over them. So anyway, this is just your basic narcotic detection or detector class, talking about bunny boxes and alert boxes and your passive response, your aggressive response, and the drives they must have. They must have them drives. If they don't have them drives, we can't utilize them in police service dogs. Or for that matter, private industry. It doesn't matter. Whether it's a private industry dog working or a police service dog. It has to be there. Or we're just wasting our time. Okay, good.